So thank you, Roberto, and thank you everyone for coming. I know it is not the best possible time slot after lunch, yeah? The first presentation after lunch, but okay, let us start. So my name is Balzenka Divijak, as already heard, and this paper was prepared in collaboration with my colleagues Barbie and Damir. And hello Barbie. Barbie is online and she has a newborn, and both of them, Ruby, 2.5 months, and Barbie are watching us, so be careful what are you talking about. So first of all, let us try to be interactive, and I give you one question here. What do you think students prioritize to have on a dashboard? What do you think? Yeah, so it can be several stuff here. I'll give you a few seconds because we don't have more to read it. So, I mean, which of these actually features can be prioritized by students as important? So let me try with the first one. Who do you think that, just raise your hands, that a time of activities with deadlines is something that students would like to have on a dashboard? Okay, so I can see majority. Then comparison of their grades with the average of their cohort. Many of you, okay. Workload needed to achieve learning outcomes. Okay, okay. Prediction if they are going to finish a course? Oh, not nobody. Good. Results of teacher evaluation by students. Okay, let's say 1/3. And badges and competition results. A few of you. And finally, nothing. Of course, there are some of you, and of course the student. And so we will try to answer this during our presentation. So what we are going to focus? We are going to focus on student-facing dashboards, because they are, if you look at the literature, but also here at the conference, there were just a few research about student-facing dashboards. The dashboards are much more researched from the side of teacher-facing dashboards or some other advisory staff-facing dashboard. So our aim here is to support student-centered and self-regulated learning, and what we would like to see and what we would like to explore, students' perspective on learning analytics and dedicated dashboards in higher education, and compare students' perspective before and after the pandemic. So let us see what we have right now. So there are 3 research questions. The first one related to the students' preferences regarding LA. So you already answers what do you think, and we can compare it later if your answers are in line with what students said. Then how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected students' preferences? Let us see. What are the underlying factors related to students' preferences regarding LA? So we actually collected the data in two phases, 2 times. First time in June 2017, and then second time January 2022. So you can see before and after, let's say after, and hope after the pandemic, yeah, okay? But we are not sure. And both times among all second-year graduate ICT students at the University of Zagreb Faculty Organization Informatics. So these are the ICT students, and we distributed our questions through an online questionnaire in LMS. So if you look at the data from 2017, so there were 38 multiple choice questions with the Likert type answers plus 1 optional open-ended question, so students can choose to put some additional comments. And then we have a quite a good response rate, almost 80% 2017 and 2022, very similar. And then you can see that around 200 students actually filled in the questionnaire in both years. So there are different cohorts of students, to be clear, because there are second-year ICT students in the study program, and yeah, they are different. And then what we tried to answer, the first one, what are the student preferences regarding LA and what they would like to see on dashboard. So you can see here the list of the most important features. We actually give them more than 30, and so these are the preferences. Activity calendar, obtained assessment points, daily and weekly schedule, notification on course obligations, individually set deadlines, personalized messages by teachers, features related to risk and predictions of their success. So generally, the students actually, we can conclude from that, highly appreciate dashboards features that are related to the planning of their immediate activities. We were a bit disappointed, but it is as it is. And then look at the lowest rated by students, so student status in comparison to peers. So those of you that said that they would like to see how they are, where they are in comparison to peers, obviously they are not, our students are not so interested in that information. Then results of competition, awards also, and comparison and competition with peers in general. So we can see that students, our students, ICT students and our faculty does not appreciate features that are supporting competitiveness and mutual comparisons. Of course, if we look at the literature, we can find similar results, and obviously it is it depends on a cultural context, but also some other context like study or something else. And then there were some comments, because of course there are students who are really keen on having information where they are in comparison and information about competitions and everything else, but majority of them are not so happy with this. Of course, we can discuss it in a way that it is a kind of difficult to see if they can benefit from this information, even though in many dashboards actually this information is visible, this all sorts of comparisons. What they would like to have is comprehensive dashboards and enabling their customizability, because we don't have one dashboard with all the information, but several, one in LMS, another one in some administration part and so on. So obviously they are much more keen on having comprehensive dashboard. And then some thought that there should be rather basic with the most important information, not all the information we can think about. So to conclude for this first research question, so our students are much more inclined to have short-term planning, and why it can be a little bit, let's say, basis for concern, because this kind of planning can be related to surface and strategic approach to learning instead of deep learning. So we should think about it, and it is not just information about the dashboard, but information about the students we should take into consideration. Then, as I said, they are not so competitive, and maybe they are, but they are not, would like to be informed about their position on the list. And of course, it is a kind of, it can be, for some of them, they also put into comments that it can be demotivating for them to have this kind of information. Then what also was surprising a bit, that privacy data protection did not stand out as a particularly prominent concerns, contrary to some other research. So our students, probably they are, because they are ICT students, they know much more about this, but it was not a prominent feature here. And then the second question was related to the pandemic affected students' preferences. So in a nutshell, if you look at their preferences, it seems, and it is what we had expected, that students' awareness of the importance and possibility of learning analytics increased with the pandemic. So just to describe a little bit the learning environment. So pre-pandemic learning environment, we actually worked in a blended format, so having Moodle for 16 years in a row, so all the courses have this e-course twin, and it's obligatory, but still majority of classes were face-to-face. Then during the pandemic, online, of course, and post-pandemic, hybrid or blended teaching and learning. And obviously, we can say that if you look at the variables, all the variables related to the LA teachers actually have higher scores in 2022 than 5 years before. There are some almost all. There are some exceptions, and probably you can guess these comparison features are were even lower 2022 than before. And it seems there can be different interpretation for that. One can be that students during the pandemic actually struggled a lot with this new online environment, and in initial stages of pandemic, focus was much more on everyday learning than on extracurricular activities, and of course on cooperation, and not so much on competition. The third question, research question, are concerned with underlying factors related to student preferences, and we performed factor analysis 2 times, exploratory factor analysis based on data 2017, and then confirmatory in 2022. You can see the details in the paper, so I'm not going to explain the details, but what is important that confirmed the 5-factor model. It is something that we can share here, and you can see the factors and variables. So as I said, there are 5 factors. The biggest number of variables are in comparisons factors, even though our students are not pretty much, let's say, keen on having this on a dashboard. Still, in a factor analysis, it shows as a factor. And in some other contexts, it can be useful, because it doesn't mean that what we get in our context is something that you can get from your students. Then it is extracurricular activities, not very much appreciated, but still a separate factor. Planning as a strongly appreciated, and a factor with 4 variables that obviously we have actually consensus among research studies that it's important. Predictions, they like predictions a lot, even though we have concerns if we have this kind of predictions, if they are kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, so we have to be concerned with that. And then teachers, they would like to see the results of summative and formative results of teacher evaluation. Of course, our work has limitations, because it's conducted among the ICT students. Pretty large sample, but again, one higher education institution. So what we try to do, and we encourage you to do the same, because the questionnaire is shared, try to support this or have different results in different contexts. So further research, there are many further research aspects we can work on. So thank you very much for your patience.